Hello, my name is Kelvin Sims, and I am the owner of Sims Property Investors, and I am looking for houses or any type of property to buy in Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, Fort Smith, and Van Buren, and any of the surrounding areas. A question that I get asked a lot, that I have been asked a lot throughout the years by sellers is, what is a real estate investor? A real estate investor is just a fancy term for a person who buys real estate to make money. In most cases, we are looking to buy properties under market, but that's not always the case because sometimes we can give you fair market value for your house as long as we see a potential there to add value, meaning spend money on the house, renovate it, and make it worth more. If we see a potential to make a house worth more than it is as it sits, then we could give you fair market value. It all depends on you and your situation. So if you have a price in mind, we may be able to give you that price. You cannot brush off a real estate investor as a person who just buys cheap houses. That's not what we do. In most cases, we don't really want to buy a house that we have to basically rebuild. In a perfect world, we're looking for a house that's in fair condition that we can put a little bit of money in and make it worth more so we can sell it and make money. In other cases, sellers think that we are just out there to lowball you guys. That is not what we're out there to do. It's best to have a price already in mind, or either a price range that you want to get for your house. It's not wise to go to an investor, a person who makes money off of real estate. It's not wise to go to an investor and say, hey, what do you guys want to give me for my house? It's best to have a price in mind, or a price range if you want to test the market. Remember, we are people who are making our living from real estate. So we are trying to buy properties at the lowest amount possible. So when you ask us, what do you want to give me for my house? We're going to start at a very low number. And see, that number may be a low ball. In most cases, it might be a low ball number, but sometimes it's not. It just depends. But if you do not want to go through the emotional distress of being lowballed, it's best to come to a real estate investor with a price in mind and tell us what the price is. If you want to test the market, then go get an appraisal or go find a real estate agency to give you a price on your house, or what they think the house would sell for. That's what most sellers want to do. They want to test the market. But when you're testing the market with real estate investors, you're not getting a very clear view of what your house could be worth. You have to do that with retail buyers, and retail buyers are people who buy houses to live in. So you have to go on the market to test out the market. You have to be on the market to test out the market. With real estate investors, we are going to, if you ask us to give you a price on your house, we are going to start low and then come up, because we make our money. We make our living from real estate. So we're always trying to spend the least amount of money on real estate. And that is buying the house. We're trying to spend the least amount of money buying the house, and we're trying to spend the least amount of money renovating the house as well. So sellers, if you have a house that you want to sell, have a price in mind and give us a price or a price range. If you don't want to have a definitive price that we can just take to the bank, And most sellers want to know how the transaction works with a real estate investor. It's easy. It's really easy. We use a one-page contract, and then we take that contract. If we agree on the price, we sign, you sign, and the price is there, the terms are there, the closing date is there, and we take that contract to a title company, and then the title company makes it all legal, and we go there, we sign more paperwork at the title company once we get to the closing date, and then that's it. The transfer of ownership of the house is done at the title company. It's that easy. It's just like a real estate transaction with a real estate agent. It's just that there's no one in between. The real estate agent is really acting as a liaison between you and the buyer. When you're buying from a real estate investor, we are the buyers. So there's no one in between. It's just us. Sometimes there are real estate investors who are in between, but they're getting paid by the buyer, not by you as the seller. Most people only do one or two transactions, real estate transactions, in their lifetimes. They're either buying a house or selling a house, or probably buying another house again, most likely buying another house again and then selling the house. So a lot of people do not deal with real estate transactions a lot like real estate investors do. We're buying and selling all of the time. So we know that this process is really easy, but a lot of people who don't really have a lot of experience in buying and selling houses all the time. They think that, how does it work? It's confusing to them, right? But it's really easy. It's just a contract. We sign a one-page contract. We take the contract to the title company, and then that's it, basically. We just wait for the closing date to come, and we go there and we sign more paperwork. And this it's not a lot that you sign at the closing, at the title company. There's not a lot of paperwork to sign at the title company. You just really giving your final signature on the transfer of your ownership of your house. So it's really easy. It's not confusing. Sometimes it can be confusing if you don't have people out here like me trying to explain it to you. So to sum it all up, real estate investors are people who buy real estate to make money. We're either trying to flip houses or we're trying to rent houses. And in most cases, we are looking to buy houses under market value. But if you have a house that is causing you problems, or if it needs more renovations than you can pay for, or if you're a landlord and you have tenants that are not paying you rent, or if you have been inherited property that you do not want, in those cases, they want to just get rid of the property. They don't really care about making a lot of money on the transaction. In those cases, that's where we work well at, because we can buy the house from you quickly. I mean, we can close very quickly because most of the time we're using cash. We're not using loans. Sometimes loans are used, but we're able to get cash. We're able to get loans quickly. So you don't have to wait a very long time for like a traditional buyer who has to go get a loan from a bank, and the bank needs all these inspections done. They need an appraisal done. They need an inspection done. We usually do the inspecting ourselves, and we can get the money quickly, whether the money is a loan or if it's cash. We have cash, or we can get a loan very quickly. So it's not like you're waiting a month to get the house sold with a real estate investor, like myself and other people that I work with. We can buy a house in as little as 2 weeks, a week and a half. We can do whatever, we can work around however long you want to wait to move out or do whatever you need to do. We can wait, but we can close really quickly. So I'm just here to help. I'm here to help. I don't want to be a pain to you. I don't want to be a problem. I'm really a trustworthy guy. I know that kind of comes off as overconfident, but I am a trustworthy guy. I think that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I'm one of few people that I know that does what he says he's going to do. And I follow through, and I do not like to cheat people. I don't like to scam people. I'm not a scam. I don't like to be, I like to be a trustworthy person, and if we cannot make a deal, then we will not make a deal, and I don't want to hold you to making deals. And if we disagree on something, then we just disagree, So, you can trust me. Give me a try. Try me out. Give me a call, 479-320-8900. If you have a house that you want to sell, try me out. If I don't like what you have, I will let you know. I will tell you I don't want to buy it. I'll pass. I'll put it to you nicely. I'm a nice guy anyway, so I'm always going to put it to you nicely. But if you have something that's too much for me, or too much for people that I know other people who invest in real estate as well. So if I'm not able to buy your house, if it's too high, or if it requires too much work, that I will pass it along to another investor that I know, just so you can get your house sold. That's the point, right? You want to get your house sold. So if I'm not able to buy it, I am going to call someone who I know who buys real estate to buy your house so you can get it sold. That's the point. That's what you want to get done, right? So the people I work with, they're very nice people. If I'm not able to buy it, I know I look young. I'm 36 years old. I'm young, but I do have some money to invest. I do have money to invest, and I know how the process works. So, I'm not a newbie per se. I've been doing this for about 8 years. So I'm not a newbie. I don't consider myself a newbie. I know how the process works. And as long as you know how the process works, if you can make the process, if I can make your process, this transaction, selling your house with us buying it, if I can make the process easy for you, then that's what it's all about. It's all about making the customers happy. And that is what I'm all about. I'm all about making the customer happy. And I know the process really well. And it's a smooth process. I'm in a process right now of a house being bought by a person that I work with. He's buying a house that I found, and I passed on the house, but he said that he wanted to buy it. So that process is going on right now, and it's a very easy process. We're working with a great woman. She's selling her house to us, and it's been a great process. I'm hoping to get some reviews from her, but I know that leaving reviews is a process, for people. Because we want you to leave us a review on our Google profile, on our Facebook profile, on our BBB. It's a lot. But I'm hoping to get more reviews. People don't like to leave reviews, but I haven't had a bad experience with any sellers. Sometimes in negotiations, people get kind of offended doing negotiations, and sometimes people have gotten offended. Sometimes in the past, I lowballed a couple people. I'm just going to be honest. I lowballed a couple people when I first began, because I was kind of a newbie. I was pretty new to real estate investing. So I lowballed a couple people. So, these people, I don't know if they're going to vent their frustrations out with me or not, because this happened so long ago. And I was such a newbie. But now that I've been working with great real estate investors, and I have been doing this for so long now, 8, 9 years now, I've gotten more polished at my negotiation skills. So at the risk of lowballing a person, if they ask me to give them a price, remember, you want to really have a price in mind when you come to a person like me or a real estate investor. You want to give us a price, and then we can negotiate with each other. But in the past, I've lowballed, and those are probably the only bad experiences. I have not been in situations where I've done something, nefarious with the seller or anything like that. I have no you won't find anything like that out there in the real estate world about me. So I just want to cut it off there and just give a explainer video about, what I do, what we do as in real estate investors. We are the alternative to a real estate agent. With a real estate agent, you really want to use a real estate agent if you want to find a buyer who is going to live in the house. In most cases, they will pay you more money than a real estate investor would. So if you want to get the most for your house and you don't want to be, going back and forth with price, sometimes you can get that with, retail buyers. That's what we call them, retail buyers, people who want to buy a house to live in. These are buyers who are on the market. So when a real estate agent puts your house on the MLS, you're dealing with retail buyers, people who are willing to pay you the most for your house. Sometimes they negotiate, but with real estate investors, we're trying to pay the least amount possible. But we still can probably give you what you want. So you cannot, like I said before, don't brush aside real estate investors as people who just want to lowball you and buy cheap houses. That's not what we do. We could give you exactly what you want. If you have a house that you don't want to fix up and you want to just say you just want to sell it in as is condition, you need to give us a call. You need to give a person like me a call, because if I won't buy it from you, like I said, I can get you in the world of investors who are, I can get you in touch with people who are investors who are probably willing to pay more than I would. We kind of vary, we vary. It just depends. Investor by investor, each investor has a risk tolerance, that means that they're willing to take on more of a project than others. So you have to give me a call. You have to just give me a call. Visit my website. Look at my Facebook profile. It's new. I have a Facebook profile for my business, Sims Property Investors. It's new. I only have like 36 followers at the time of this video right now. I'm new. Um, I'm not really new to the area. I've been here since 2011. I was in the Air Force, like I said, working here in Fayetteville. And I moved here in 2011, and I've been doing this since 2017. Real estate investing. I've been doing this since 2017. So, I'm kind of a newbie to the area, I guess, but I've been living here and I love the people here. I think this is the greatest place on earth to live. I love the season changes. I mean, I just love everything about Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley as well. But hey, this is it. Give me a call, 479-320-8900, and thank you for watching.